I'm recording this in like 12 at night, or basically 12 in the morning, because it is, man, I'm just not good with keeping track of time whatsoever. Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, iShutter here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. If you haven't already watched my unboxing experience, I'll be leaving a link in the description, or right up in that corner right there. You should tap that corner to, watch that video. And that's going to be my first topic, which is the unboxing experience. What was the unboxing experience like? I'm just going to say it felt Apple-like. I don't know if they try to copy Apple, or really, with any big tech brands, they're gonna be either following Apple or just, Samsung, I guess, since Samsung can do their own thing too. I just think they copied Apple, just like with any capitalistic enterprise, they're gonna copy each other. But it was a very welcoming experience, for sure, from the opening scheme to the products that were included, aka not having a charging brick. There was no charging brick, and I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Almost everyone has a USB-C charging brick now. I know I do, so I don't need it, because again, this has USB-C, and so does my iPhone and many other vast products that I have. What I am going to say that they did include, that Apple does not include in any of their phones, is a SIM eject tool. I never got a SIM eject tool in my Apple iPhone whatsoever. But also, again, I think they're going to fade that out pretty soon, because everyone's going to be swapping to eSIMs, which is in the phone internally. So you're not going to really even notice that much of anything, really, once they take the SIM cards away, which is, in my eyes, they're not even useful anymore. Now, another topic I want to get into discussion about is the design, and how I feel about Samsung's approach to how they designed the Samsung, which, I mean, in my full honesty, if we're going to go by it, I'm going to say the exact same thing I said for the unboxing experience. They went with Apple. They followed Apple's footstep, and people are going to be like, oh, Apple copies Samsung all the time with Android-based stuff. Every company does it. Let's just be honest. Everyone copies each other, just as artists copy each other. But yeah, so I guess a very boxy design. Ignore the yellowing, please. Very boxy design, obviously, but I feel like it's more boxy when the case is on. Once I take it off, you get the nice curves to it and everything, but it still has that box look to it. So if I can take this off really quick without shaking the camera. So, but yeah, so see, you got the nice box, nice curves to it, a little bit pointy, but you still got those curves on the body, you can tell. Another thing I want to point out is just how dense this is. This is like a dense phone, very dense phone. It can't even be compared to the iPhone 15 at all. It is the super dense phone, with the amount of titanium this has. This has more titanium than the iPhone 15 does, sort of. The reason why I say that is because the glass back on here, which I now covered back up, has titanium in it. It is infused into the glass where there's titanium in it, and in the sides too, there's some titanium in it. So you have that density, and the battery is just dense. And I'll bring up the specs for the battery in the spec portion, but it is just so dense, so dense. It's a very chunky boy, and I wish they didn't have a big phone. Hey, Samsung, in the future, when you're trying to get people to buy a pro version of your products, offer a smaller phone, please. I'm grateful for it, but I don't need a big phone. That's why I avoided the Max and the Plus size now, because I had them in the past and I just didn't need them. There's no point. It's I'm carrying a tablet with me now with this thing. It's a nice phone, but it's chunky. It is the most chunkiest phone I've seen, in any other phone. Oh, I thought the iPhone was a bigger phone in the past, you said. I did not. This beats it. Samsung wins the chonk, okay? There's no doubt about it. They won the chonk. I don't know what else I can tell you about that, but like it is chonk. Especially with the battery. The battery is freaking chonky in this thing. Well, it is now Friday. It took me a whole week to get back to making clips for just the unboxing. So I'm sorry if the camera looks a little bit different, or if it's in different places, or if the scenery has changed. I didn't mean for the scenery to change, but I mean, hey, what can you do when you've been busy for a whole week working for a school district? Anyways, moving on. Specs. The specs on this device is a little bit different, obviously, from an iPhone perspective, but also I feel like is a little bit beefier than even an iPhone standards, really, except for camera. I'll get to the camera in a bit, especially also the display. The display being a whole other issue. CPU on here is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The storage on here is a 512 gigabytes. I mean, it's a big chunky phone to have 512 gigabytes. I mean, look, it's chunk. What else can I say? Chunk storage, chunk device. The memory on here is 12 gigabytes. You don't even need 12 gigabytes on a phone. It's just insane to me that I'm living to this day to just even have 12 gigabytes on a phone. 12. The screen size on here is a 6.8 inch screen. Resolution goes up to 3120 by 1440, and it really shows. Almost close to 4K. So close. So close. The refresh rate on this is 120 hertz. So, I mean, you can obviously get 120 FPS off this. And I have, believe me, I have. And now the cameras. Now, the cameras aren't really interesting to me because I still think to this day the camera overlord is Apple. Regardless, Apple still wins the camera. The front camera is a 12 megapixel, wide angle is 200 megapixels, telephoto 50 to 10 megapixels, ultra wide gets you 12 megapixels. And now this is the difference to where you need to know that this is much more insane. The difference between the zoom on an Android and on an iPhone is completely different. In my eyes, the zoom quality on iPhone is much more clear. The zoom quality on this makes it super grainy. I'm not, that is my opinion. These cameras get super grainy when you zoom in, because I'm gonna tell you now. The optical zoom goes to 3x to 5. The optical quality zoom, again, this is from what I grabbed on Samsung's website, goes up to 2x to 10x. Okay, that's for quality. So in their eyes, that is supposed to be like a better quality picture, almost comparable to an iPhone, especially with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which can go up to 20x with its zoom and it being just natural native zoom, which is super nice and super crisp on an iPhone camera. And then their digital zoom goes up to 100x. That is the biggest zoom you can get out of a phone, especially Android. And I've already looked at this and it looks clear, it looks crisp, it looks all right, but as soon as you zoom on in, it gets really grainy. I don't think Android holds the title still to this day for camera. That is just my opinion. I think Apple still has wonderful camera specs, especially when it comes to their ProRes. I cannot show ProRes footage at all because I need an external USB device. But I think Apple is still going to hold the title to cameras. Android will never hold the title to cameras until like they can actually like somehow be compared to Apple in a way, or make better cameras than Apple. I don't know what to say about that. Honestly, I don't know what to say. Anyways, to finish off with the specs, the battery is a 5,000 milliamp battery, so you can get at least 30 hours of video and then 95 hours of audio. Hot damn, that's much longer than an iPhone, unfortunately. The water and dust resistant is rated to IP68, so it can go pretty well. I still wouldn't get this put this in water for too long. This is not fully waterproof in my opinion. And again, body titanium, but we already went over the body during the unboxing and just the design of the quality of the phone. So you already know that. So ignore all that about the body. Ignore the body. All right, now the next thing I want to go over is audio, and it's going to be kind of short and sweet with audio because really, there's not really much of a difference because I mean it's louder if you at least fold it up like this and you have it crossed like this. And if you don't know how audio is done now, the audio will come on the top of the grill speaker where the earpiece is for talking on a normal phone. And then you have your speakers on the bottom right here, and this is where your speaker is going to be right there. And it's good quality sound. I know that you can get certain services will have Dolby Atmos available, which is basically just better sound quality that you can get out of certain services. I know Apple just has Dolby Atmos mostly built into its phone. Of course, again, there's services that have that enabled if you subscribe to their service. For example, Apple Music, you get Dolby Atmos out of the box. Netflix, you get it out of the box. But I mean, at the end of the day, most phones have been getting better at sound quality, especially display and picture-wise too, which is the next thing I'm gonna get into, visual. Now for the display on this device, it is very, very new to me, at least again on a phone perspective. I can actually see most of the colors popping with amazing quality, better than an iPhone in my opinion, somewhat, but and the reason why I say somewhat is because they had an issue for a short period of time where device displays had issue with color balancing, light balancing, and that really did not help Samsung in the long run. And at that point, most people didn't even want to get the phone because of this one issue. But as for me, I never really had this issue, and in my opinion, they're beating Apple on this one. However, I'm still gonna say also, Apple still has nice displays too. Their colors pop. They have really, in my opinion, you can almost compare this to Apple's like monitors, right? In a way, that's how I see it. Again, on a phone, that's how I see it. Because again, they've already did fix the screen issues with, I think, a software patch. And I don't really see the problems with bleeding or color balancing. It's really just now, in my opinion, perfect. It's such a nice design. Now I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the camera. You've already heard about the camera specs and my opinions on it, at least for what I think is kind of a little bit weird. But the camera isn't bad. Let's be honest, the camera isn't bad and almost being close to Apple. Now I wanna clarify. The reason why I say all this is because before this phone came out, Android was notoriously known to have just terrible cameras, just terrible cameras, and even till to this day, I still believe Apple holds the title to having the best phone cameras. So for example, when you still zoom into the telephoto or even the digital zoom, you're gonna get a very noisy and very grainy photo on this device. You have to know too, when iPhone is recording or just taking pictures in general, it's taking multiple layers, and then it will apply those layers, and using certain machine learning and AI learning techniques, it will balance out all the colors, the lights and the darkness. And again, Samsung will try to do the same thing, but when you're pushing the camera to its limits with the insane, especially the insane digital zoom of almost 200, your mileage is gonna vary, especially when they're also artificially using AI too. This was something in the news to where if you took a picture of the moon with this, it would just fill in the gaps. It will denoise it and just fill in the gaps, which is kind of cool, but also such a lie. So, but because it's like, yeah, you can go get this photo online from a telescope that took a picture very well, mind you. However, in the end, Samsung is catching up and Android itself is catching up to the camera. But unfortunately, to this day, in my opinion, iPhone's still the clear winner when it comes to camera. Alright, so I was able to get the phone back alive to be able to do this. I'm gonna run a quick performance test on the Samsung. I'm gonna use two applications. It's just gonna be 3D Mark, and then if you saw that, it's gonna be a CPU benchmark. It's like Geekbench, I think is what it was. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and run the 3D Mark for you, and we're gonna get a result. So I wonder, and this is the only other issue I have is like, you can't flip it to the correct side. It's weird. Alrighty, so now we're gonna get the stats now maxed out. Wow, wait, overall score maxed out. What do you mean by that? Alright, so I figured out what I needed to do. I needed to run an extreme version. It basically just played that video, but with higher quality, and let me tell you, the stats are just going to clear itself out. So it obviously scored a 3,160, right? Its average frames was below 20, not really that great, but I mean, it was at extreme. It was like showing a ton of particles and ton of graphics. So I mean, it went for it. So it scored better than 2%. So I mean, if that's as much of anything, it looks like though there's been better scores. Obviously, I don't know if this is being compared to like PCs or computers or, well, not computers, PCs, PC desktops or PC laptops or tablets. We scored 12% better than your basic S24, which is like, you know, not the Pro version or the Ultra version. And then for our Apple 15 Pro, we scored 18% higher. 18. Compare that to the basic S24. This phone can perform so much better. And then with the I can't even pronounce that name, they scored 11% better. Obviously we scored 2% on the Ultra because this is an Ultra, and then for OnePlus 8%. It performs better. It performs better in a lot of means than any of the other Android devices out there. This is a powerhouse, and I mean a powerhouse. We scored 72% better than of all other devices, so I mean that has to say much of everything. And then this is our performance. So our battery obviously staying at 13%. It's now at 14%, but it was probably taking a ton of my battery from my battery bank. It went from 41 degrees Celsius to 42. That was a big jump. And of course, only staying locked at like 30 frames a second, but you have to know like it was taking a ton of particles and a lot of other stuff. So this is from the battery to frame rate. Obviously the battery just, again, staying in place from that blue line. You can see the frame rate dipping as it was thermal throttling. It got pretty warm when I was touching it. So that says a lot. So, but yeah, this is, wow. It scores so much better than it scores 18% better. 18% better than the Apple iPhone 15 Pro. That's just, it speaks volume that the Apple 15 Pro is a little bit slower, I guess, than a Samsung Galaxy Ultra. But another thing is too, I'm gonna pop a photo of the benchmark 2 with the Apple 15 Pro and give you a score comparison of how either far away it is or compared to a Galaxy Ultra, or how better it is from a Galaxy S24 Ultra. So, but again, I think it did really, really well than anything. It looks like there's been other models that scored higher. I don't know if it's because I have a low battery percentage, because again, I just forgot to charge it, or if it's because of some other means, if it could be the case. It could be because my hands are warming it up. I have no clue, but it's pretty interesting. Or again, there's other models out there. I think there was like a 2 terabyte model that can be able to do a little bit better performance, because again, I have a 512 gig. But again, it performed pretty well. So I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely something. Now the next test I want to do is just CPU. Obviously we could do the GPU, but I just want to see what CPU specs you're gonna run from a core standpoint, and just to see what you'll be expecting from. So the single core score is all right. I don't know how that can be compared to like Geekbench or whatnot. Not Geekbench, 3D Mark. But obviously the single core is at 1978, while your multi-core is at 6106. And then here's all the other scores. So you have your integer score, your floating point score. I have no idea what all these mean. It's so much. Look at it. It's good for browsing the web. Navigation, good. File compression, awesome. For your PDFs, awesome. Photo library, no problem. Don't know what Clang is. that doesn't sound right. I would have to do research on that. Your text processing, all right. Asset compression, decent. Object detection, I wonder. No, I'm gonna cut that out. Your asset compression, then your object detection. It's all over the place, right? Although, actually, what got me, look at this. HDR, okay. Ray tracing, it's there. They're all decent. It shows that it can work on the processor, that they're getting close to the camera-esque of Apple. It's showing. So I mean, that says a lot right there. So all you have to know is that it scored a decent score. I can't really compare it to really anything else besides 3D Mark being able to compare it to other devices. So the processor is decent, and if you can take those things from the 2 different benchmarks, and taking it also from 3D Mark, saying how it's comparing it to other devices, this is a pretty powerful phone for what it is. I'm not joking. It is pretty powerful. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So overall, what do I think of this device? How easy it is to use, and what practicality does this have for just an everyday person? And should you even get one? You do not need to get the Ultra. I think if we looked at the 3D Mark, the basic Samsung S24 will be good enough if you're looking for a cheap, reliable phone, and it shows promise. I think you're gonna get the same amount of performance you're gonna get out of an Ultra. If you're looking for those Android. But now I really dive deep into this. If you're looking for simplicity and you're just wanting simple, like, use out of a phone, you want to go with an iPhone, because iPhone has a nice layout to where you can just be able to go to the App Store, download the apps you need, get your job done for the day, call it clean. You have a photo app, camera app on the iPhone. It does everything that you want. There is a little bit of customization with some of the widgets, and then if you're in the EU, you have side loading that is available to an extent. But really, if you're just a simple user, then that is just looking for a phone, especially if you're wanting a cheap one, especially used. This can go for both Android or iPhone, particularly iPhone, since iPhone's really easy to use. If it was like a flip phone, you're wanting to look at an Apple phone. But if you're the IT guru, you like your technology, you like to hack your device, or you're just wanting that beefy performance, I would go with Android. Android just is so much better when it comes to performance, customizability, and just for IT gurus like me, you can do so much with an Android phone than you can with an iPhone. It's easy to really hack in a way, and I'm gonna say hack in special quotations because you still have to go through all the stuff, but we say hack as, customizability. But you can change a lot of stuff on here if it was like Windows. You can't really do that with iPhone because, again, iPhone limits a lot of that stuff. I mean, to an extent, because you can jailbreak it, but then you're gonna just get like restricted with so much other apps. So this is really a good option if you're looking into decent performance, customizability options, hacking, or just IT stuff in general. Go with Android. And again, you don't need to get the Ultra, but if you're looking for those beefier performances, you're gonna want an Ultra. And also, if you're looking for a camera, go with iPhone again. Camera is gonna be iPhone winner. And that is really it. There is not much else to say else about the phone. I think it's a wonderful phone. I'm glad I was able to get it. I'm definitely going to be keeping it for the next 2 to 3 years. And then once the service I have on this, once that discount ends with the service and I fully pay this off, I probably won't reactivate it on a service, and I would probably just keep it at like a home and just use it for like hacking purposes. So like if I wanted to look at a specific application that I can only get on Android, I have an Android product now. So like I can really just use it for anything else, for customizability options and just for a lot of IT stuff. So this is really going to come in handy, especially when I'm looking into getting a Flipper Zero and pairing it up to that, and trying to even pair it up with a Raspberry Pi or Arduino. I feel like this is going to take me so far. It's going to be so much better than just having Mac devices in my life. So I'm really grateful for this. Of course, I was going to go with another option, which was the Google Pixel, and I may be going with that and reviewing that product at a later date, at a later time. But again, I'm grateful I got this phone. It's a nice, lovely phone. And not only that, there's so much unique features about it. What you want to know, the one unique feature I like that I've been having fun with it? It's literally this. If I can aim correctly. The circle to search. You could just find anything with just circling it. So like, for example, let's say I wanted to circle, this the Android operating system. It comes up with all that. So it's really cool. I really like this feature. It's nice. And you can even just tap on it. You can just tap. Search up information. What's information in the dictionary? There you go. It's a nice little feature. I really do like that feature a lot. So can't complain. And then another feature is not that. Another feature is the AI in this. So watch this. Hey Google, can you describe what you are?
Trained to be informative and comprehensive. I am trained on a massive amount of text data, and I am able to communicate and generate human-like text in response to...
Okay, you get the picture. It's AI. So that is literally the first like ChatGPT AI that we get that is like a Google Assistant, because I basically just changed Google Assistant with that. And it's been so helpful. We have come so far with AI. AI is going to be helpful, but we also need to point out the dangerous parts of it. And I'm probably going to bring up another video about that later down. But yeah, nice device. I'm glad I got it. I have no complaints about it, anything else. But yeah. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. That would be so much appreciated. And make sure you go check out my other socials in the link description below. I'm trying to use a lot of that just to be able to communicate and keep you guys updated on what's happening, because I am slowly releasing videos, as you can tell. And I do plan on actually live streaming soon. What am I going to be live streaming? Well, if you haven't seen my last short that I made, it's going to be disassembling a PC, putting in some new components, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm stealing an idea from another YouTube channel. It's this guy right there. Yeah, that guy. Putting Steam OS on a desktop computer, if I can, on live. I'm gonna at least try. So I'm hoping. Anyway, guys, I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you next time.
The melodies wander from dusk till dawn, but I still don't know where I went wrong. I want to go around the bend. Can't see the fear inside of me. I'm not a special person. They're not here to get you out of here.
Top do maluco, em vez de fazer cachau, ele vai fazer